let's talk about how you practically do this. How do you do what's right for you? How do you make decisions that are in line with your values, your vision, your parameters that you want to live your life within and raise your children in? This is one of those things that is so, so hard. Now let's go ahead and acknowledge all of the things keeping us from doing what's right for us. Number one, a lot of times we don't know what the right thing is, right? Especially those of you that are parents out there, we want nothing more than to do what's right for our kids. And sometimes it's not black and white. It's not clear. We don't know what the right thing is. Do we send them to this school or that school? Do we discipline them in this way or that way? Do we incentivize and reward them in this way or that way? We don't know. And we're learning as we go. It can also be really hard because, of course, we have the social media comparison reel in our phones 24 hours a day, showing us how everyone else is doing everything. And so we look at that mom that has it all together, or that business owner that seems to be just absolutely rocking it, or that person that is just the most fit person we've ever seen. And we look at them and we think, oh, I need to spend my life that way. I need to live my life that way. I need to make these decisions and those decisions just like those people I admire. And while we certainly can and should be inspired by people doing what we want to do, it can make it that much more difficult to discern what is right for us. How do you do what's right for you in any area of life? How do you know what that is? And then how do you have the confidence to actually do it? Well, y'all know I love a good list. So I have a list of 3 things that you can do. These are 3 practical things that you can do to do what's right for you and your family. So let's talk about this. Number 1, get the right advice from the right people. Whatever issue you're facing, whatever decision you're making, get the right advice from the right people. I'll give you 2 different examples. In one instance, I was really struggling with my son, Conley. He has got some sensory challenges, and as a parent, he's so different than his older brother, Carter. And so I'm constantly figuring out, well, how do I discipline him? Like, what is him being out of line is what is something that's a sensory issue where he's trying to tell me something is off and I need to handle it totally different. As a parent, this can be exhausting. It can be so hard to figure out, and it can be emotional because you don't want to do the wrong thing. Well, several months ago, I was referred to a counselor here in town, and y'all, I signed up for a session and I just thought, I just need to talk to someone to help me understand, am I doing the right thing? That's all I want to know. Am I doing the right thing? How do I do this? What is the right thing? Well, I spent 50 minutes with this incredible man, and y'all, in that 50 minutes, I kid you not, he changed my life. Like, he was full of grace and wisdom and advice and guidance, and everything he said so resonated with me. It was so in line with my values. It was so perfect for where I was in my journey as a parent and where my son Conley was in his age and in his development. I walked out of that room feeling, I kid you not, 100 pounds lighter. I felt like God used this man to meet me right where I was. I got the encouragement I needed when I was really struggling, but I also got the advice that I needed of how to navigate difficult and different situations with my son Conley. Getting the right advice from the right people will help you do what's right for you. Now, that's an example with parenting. Let me give you a non-parenting example. I have back pain. I have talked about this on social media whenever I shared this recently, but I have a degenerative disc in my lower back that I've had since like high school. So I know how to manage this. I know that I have this pain. If I sit for long periods of time, it flares up and can become really painful. Thankful with 3 kids, I don't sit for long periods of time. But also if I stand for long periods of time, like I do on days like today when I'm shooting the Christy Wright Show or when I'm shooting some other video series. When I stand, I can almost get stuck in this position of standing. And so I've dealt with this pain for a long time, but I've had this new pain in the last 4 to 6 months that is just nerve related. It sends shooting pains down my legs. And every time I sneeze, I panic that my legs are going to collapse because it's happened before. And I'm like, that's not normal. We don't need to live with this just like fear of sneezing. We don't need to live with the fear that your legs are going to give out just in the hallway when you're walking through the day. So I sought out a really highly recommended spinal surgeon, an expert in the spine, and I have been having meetings and appointments and MRIs and consults with him, physical therapy, and pursuing this path of healing, pursuing this path of managing my back pain. It's not gonna be back surgery, but there are things that I can do to take care of my back and do what's right for me in my situation. Regardless of what you're dealing with, a work decision, a parenting issue, a health issue, you've got to do what's right for you. And the best way to know what that is to get the right advice from the right people. People that you trust, people that are referred by people that you trust, people that are in line with your values, those people that are experts in their space. Y'all, you don't have to go through life struggling with all the things you've always struggled with. Yes, there are some things you have to deal with, you have to live with. I will live with back pain forever. But it doesn't mean I can't improve it. Yes, I'm going to have challenges with my son Conley, just like I have challenges with my son Carter and my daughter Mary Grace. They're all very different. But it doesn't mean I can't learn principles and practices and tips and tactics to guide and parent them in the best possible way for them. You can learn from people that know things that you don't know, that are experts in spaces that you need help with. Get the right advice from the right people so you can do what's right for you. That's the first practical step that you can take. The second step I want you to take, and this is hard to do, so prepare your heart. Stop worrying about what everyone else thinks. When you get the right advice from the right people, you need to stop worrying about what everyone else thinks of you, what everyone else thinks of your parenting style, what everyone else thinks of how you manage your health issues, what everyone else thinks about how you eat or work out or clean your house. It's none of their business. It's not their body, not their kids, not their house. They don't get a say. You know, I had an experience, this was about 8 months ago or so. In the winter, we like to take our kids bowling, and the boys love it. Like, Conley loves to lift heavy objects anyway, like just exert himself, and he's freakishly strong. And so we love to go to the bowling alley. They'll lift the big balls and push them down the ramp thing for kids, and they've got the bumpers and so on. Well, the only problem with the bowling alley for Conley, who has some sensory things going on, is that it's so sensory stimulating. I mean, think about the bowling alley if you've ever been. It is loud. You've got these giant balls clanking down, the loud noise. You've got the thing that brings the ball back. You've got all the lights, the music, people. It's a lot, even if you don't have sensory issues. So one of the things that Conley does to kind of ground himself in environments that are overwhelming to him is he will try to lay down. So he'll either lay down on the floor, like just exactly as you're imagining, just lay on the floor in public. It happens. In the case of the bowling alley, he laid on the machine that brings the ball back. Now, he wasn't sticking his hands in it. He wasn't sticking his head in it. He was not unsafe. But he laid his little body over it. Well, I remember being at the bowling alley this last winter, and there was another family near us, and they just looked at me like, how could you let your son do that? That floor is so dirty. Like, you could tell they are glaring at me, whispering, looking at him, pointing, like it was a scene. I wasn't being sensitive or overreacting. They were very clearly not approving of what we were allowing our son to do. Now, is the floor dirty? Sure. However, in this path that we're on, I want Conley to have what he needs to feel okay in environments that overwhelm him. Is he gonna be okay if he lays on a dirty floor? Sure, he has been in way dirtier environments, y'all. Plus, he's a second child. You kind of let things go, right? Laying on the floor is not a big deal. I had to, in that moment, decide, do I care more about what these strangers think of me that are giving me dirty looks because my son is on the floor, or do I care more about my son having what he needs? I care a whole lot more about my son having what he needs. I let him continue to lay on the floor, lay on the thing, lay on the seats, whatever he needed to do. And then when it's his turn, he'd pop up, go get his bowling ball, throw it down the ramp, and had the best night. Same is true for you. You need to stop worrying about what other people think of you. Some of you are making the wrong choices because you are so concerned about what other people think. You're not doing what's right for you. You're doing what you think they think is right for you. And those are very different things. Whether it's with your health, whether you breastfeed your child or bottle feed your child, whether you put them in private school or public school, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a working mom or a business-owning mom, doesn't matter. It does not matter what anybody else thinks of you and your choices, because it's your life, not theirs. They don't get a say. They've got their own kids, their own work, their own business that they get to make decisions about. They don't get a say in yours. But no one can free you from the pressure of performing for other people except you. No one can do this for you. No one can make that decision for you when you're in the bowling alley and people are giving you dirty looks. It's up to you. It's up to you to stop worrying about what other people think of you. If you want to do what's right for you, you need to stop worrying about what other people think of you and focus on what's right for you. So the first thing that you want to do in order to do what's right for you is to get the right advice from the right people. The second thing that you want to do is to stop worrying about what other people think. The third and final thing that you want to do what's right for you is to follow through with it. Follow through with what's right for you. Don't just think about it, plan it, talk about it. You have to actually do it. I've told you guys before, I don't know who came up with the phrase, it's the thought that counts, but no, it's not. No one ever brags about what their husband thought about getting them for their anniversary. It's not the thought that counts. It's what you actually do that counts. Follow through on those things that are right for you. If that's going back to work, if that's quitting your job to stay home, if that's training for a marathon, if it's pulling your child out of this school and putting them in this school, if it's parenting your child in this way, if it's getting extra support, if it's hiring a house cleaner, if it's hiring a babysitter or a nanny, if it is anything that's going to help you do what's right for you, then you need to do what's right for you. You need to follow through on what's right for you. So many of us live in fear of what other people think or that we're doing the wrong thing, and we fear and we stew and we wring our hands and we worry and we stay stuck, and then we wonder why nothing changes. Nothing changes because you didn't change it. If you want to do what's right for you, you need to follow through on what's right for you.